Hi guys, so let's now take a look at various types of sources of market inefficiency. Now over the next coming lessons we'll look through each of these areas in quite a bit of detail, really get a good understanding of why we might actually not see such efficiency within a market and that maximisation of consumer surplus and producer surplus that of course we looked at in our last lesson. The reasons for this are fairly numerous. We can see that I've put down various points here and it could be represented through price ceilings or price floors. So a price ceiling would be something like a rent ceiling, actually restricting the actual price of rent that can be charged by landlords in a given area. That can of course disrupt market incentives for landlords and lead to a reduction in available supply, but it could be about a floor to a pricing level. Take for instance the minimum wage or living wage for those over 25. When you're looking at that, firms often argue that that's likely to increase unemployment. Number two, we've got taxes, subsidies and quotas. Right, well, when it comes to taxes and subsidies, a certain amount of the tax will have to be paid by the consumer, of course. When it comes to the other part of that tax, it's likely the producer will end up paying part of it as well. So it can artificially increase the actual costs of providing such a good and therefore cause a shift to the left of the supply curve. Subsidies can have a similar effect, of course, increasing supply though, but a certain amount of benefit will be borne upon the producer and a certain benefit will be enjoyed by the consumer, of course. Okay, and moreover we've got quotas here. So quotas are a physical and numerical restriction on the amount of production that can take place. As soon as you restrict supply, the price is likely to increase, of course. Now this is often evident within monopolies. So monopoly firms tend to be very unpopular because of the way in which they actually actively restrict output to increase the price level and really exploit consumers by increasing producer surplus at the expense of the consumer and expense of society overall. Now of course there aren't too many examples of pure monopolies where you have just one firm dominating a marketplace, but they can take place within local regions perhaps. So if for instance you consider a local football club, they might have such an avid following amongst their fans that they can actually exploit their supporters by charging very high prices for football jerseys and so on. Okay, then we've got public goods. There's two types of public goods. Firstly, when it comes to pure public goods, things where you can't actually exclude people from consuming them, things like national defence and street lighting, classic examples. You can't say no, stop consuming that, doesn't work. Moreover, if one person consumes it, it doesn't stop others actually consuming it. So they're non-rivalrous in terms of the consumption there as well, pure public goods. But you've also got quasi-public goods, areas such as healthcare and education. To what extent should they be provided by the market, and are they provided by the market? Of course there is some inefficiency within which they are provided. Okay, number five, external costs and benefits. So external costs are often characterised by pollution. As an example there, that could be noise, air pollution, it could be blight, it could simply be a case of litter and so on. But then you've got potential external benefits that a firm actually provides jobs, which helps to boost the local economy. It may also be as a result of those quasi-public goods that education, healthcare of course have external benefits beyond just the realms of the two individuals, the firm and the actual person enjoying the provision of education or healthcare, and they have wider benefits in essence. Okay, all right, so there we go. This will really help us to actually break down each of these areas in detail, and we'll pursue these with a lot of content. Okay, so there we go. So this really helps us to understand where these lessons are going over the course of the next few lessons that we'll see in this area. This is great stuff to learn. It's a really, really popular area which is just about always examined. So you need a good grasp of this stuff and you'll get it right here. Thanks guys.